Welcome everybody to another episode of A Pot About Nothing. I'm your host Jay, and today I got an incredible guest with me. He's one of Rhode Island's legends when it comes to the real estate game. He's a businessman, an entrepreneur, and he owns over 70 doors in one of Rhode Island's biggest wholesalers, and one of the top lenders in the area. But most importantly, a father and a family man, which I highly respect. That none other than Walter King.
Appreciate you saying that, and a pleasure for having me. Just a quick correction: I'm definitely not one of the top lenders. I lend, but I wouldn't say I'm one of the top lenders. But I appreciate that, though. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No. Well.
I don't want to be up here capping.
Nah, man. I get it. Nah, but I appreciate you being here. You know, again, I've been following you for a couple of years now.
Appreciate that.
I've been seeing your work when it comes to the real estate and everything you've been doing. And it's just inspired me because I'm into the real estate. I've attempted at it, not that I quit, but
Sure.
it's not always the easiest thing to
Sure.
get into. Capital's required,
For sure.
So yeah, but before we get started here, Walter, would you mind just kind of give us a little intro about you, kind of who you are, a little bit of your background?
So I grew up in Providence.
Okay.
I grew up in the streets of Providence. The highest grade I completed was 7th grade.
Okay.
Gilbert Stewart. I get kicked out of Gilbert Stewart middle school, and that was a wrap. Never went back to school. No, I went to UCAP after that. Some people out there know you. I think UCAP is still around.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I went there, it was on Somerset Street, which used to be Clown Town.
Oh yeah.
Which was a really rough neighborhood back then. Way worse than it is now. And that was the highest grade I've completed in school. And then just kind of slipped away into the streets after that, and in and out of training school, and then a couple of short bids in prison, and just decided to clean my life up.
Yeah.
So that kind of sums it up in a nutshell.
Gotcha. Let's kind of dive into that for a little bit real quick so we can kind of get a little bit, if it's cool with you, you know what
Absolutely.
I mean? You can not answer whatever you don't want
No,
to answer.
listen,
right?
I'm not hiding nothing, man.
So,
Let's do it.
but yeah, so like you said, growing up, you completed the highest grade was 7th grade. And
7th
then
grade.
You got into the streets and everything else. So kind of let's start there. Kind of how did you even get involved in the streets? And what was it that caught your attention?
So we grew up in foster care in Providence.
Okay.
And the environment that we grew up in, there wasn't much structure. Super grateful for the people that raised us. Nothing bad to say about them. Amazing people, but they were older people, and it was really tough for them to monitor what these kids were doing. So with that, we had very little structure, and that left me just to be out in the streets doing whatever I felt like doing. Come home whenever you feel like it, leave whenever you feel like it. If I didn't want to go to school, I didn't have to go to school. So, and at the time that I grew up in Providence, there was this was before cell phones existed.
Yeah.
So everybody was out in the streets,
Mhm.
and most of that was drug activity and crime and people hanging out in the streets, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I fell into that life,
Okay.
which was very easy back then.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it definitely is. I mean, especially if you're outside all the time, you see.
Well, we get most of our influencers now from social media, and we didn't have that back then. So
Yeah.
all we really had to look up to was street people. We couldn't look up to people working because they were at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, you had said you was in foster care. At what age did you go to foster care?
I went into foster care at 6 months old.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Oh, wow. So
6
like
months
that
old. I
little-
was raised in foster care, but I was raised by one family, and so you could say that was my mother and father, and that family ended up adopting my brother
Oh, okay.
and my 2 sisters.
Yeah.
So I grew up with my siblings.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you got to still stay with your siblings. So
That's right.
out of your siblings, are you the oldest, middle, youngest?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I got 17 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm somewhere. I couldn't even tell you who's the oldest. I know the oldest, but I'm not sure who the youngest is. But I'm not the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Now, how long was the streets something you was doing? Because you said you were in and out of training school. So
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: you never get out of the streets.
okay.
Never. I don't. From my experience, anyways.
Yeah.
When you grow up in the streets, you carry that with you in the boardrooms, in the business meetings, whatever business you go into, you carry that mentality.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that has helped me out a lot in my career, because there's a lot of things that I do in business
Mhm.
that I would have done when I was in the street. And I say that to say this, certain things you do in the streets, if you're not honorable or you're not a man of your word, you could get in a lot of trouble or you could get hurt. So I've always been a man of my word. I've always done what I said I was going to do.
Yep.
And I now carry that same mentality in business. And it gets me, I get by with like that.
Yeah, and that's great that you said that, because I was like gonna ask you that. Growing up in the streets, were you able to,
Well, at
bring
the
that
time that I grew
into-
up in the streets, there was accountability.
Yeah,
If you told on somebody or you did something to somebody, they was going to come back and get you.
yeah,
It's not like it is now.
yeah.
So
yeah,
we're talking about two different eras. So
for
a lot of
sure.
people are not going to understand what I'm saying when I say that, but to the older people and the people that did grow up in those neighborhoods, they're going to understand, because you couldn't just do anything to anybody and not see that person anymore.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially this era is completely different. I mean, we have a couple of years, well, we have like a few years apart, but I mean, I think I'm one of the last eras of that as well.
Sure.
Because I mean, same thing. I was in the streets. Luckily, I never went to jail.
Mhm.
I was always able to slither my way out
Mhm.
some way somehow. You know what I mean. But yeah, but just being out there, it's real easy. Growing up with a single mother, she's working, so it's just you walk to school, you're outside.
Sure.
In the '90s, you just it's just real easy to always be out. And then you're always outside. So and then you start to see things, and you start to get older, and you start to want more, and you're like, damn, well, I can't afford this because
Sure.
for financial reasons, and it's just real easy to fall into that. And
Sure.
then
So we grew up poor, but I never felt poor because
Mhm.
my neighbors were poor.
okay,
The people that lived on my street were poor.
yeah,
So I never felt like we didn't have much. I had what my neighbors had, and I had what all my friends had.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, somebody might have had a new bike or something that we couldn't afford, but I never ever felt poor. I never felt like we're going without. I never felt that. And I look at that as a blessing. These kids today are on social media, and there's such a they need to have $500 Jordans. I mean, I see kids wearing $1,000 Balenciagas, which is absolutely insane.
It is.
It's insane. And they feel less than if they can't have that, or they can't afford that, or their mother can't afford that. I don't know how they expect people to maintain that.
I know, because it's kind of same here, right? It's not like I grew up where I felt like I was poor either. My mom certainly provided with whatever she could, and we was content. You know what I mean? Kind of going out on the streets, kind of just at my own accord, just me just wanting more and just trying to be kind of carve my own path, in a sense. I mean, although growing up, I did see people around me that were in the streets doing things, selling drugs, and making money. And then you kind of fall into that. You're like, well, because it's real easy, especially when you know someone. It's like,
Well, when you grow up in certain neighborhoods and your neighbor's on drugs, and you see your other neighbor selling that neighbor drugs, you forget that it's illegal.
Yeah.
Especially if you see that from a young age.
for sure,
It becomes normal to you.
it is.
So now you get to that age where technically it's illegal, but morally you don't see anything wrong with it,
Yeah, no,
because that's just normal life that you deal with every single day.
everybody's doing it.
So if you grow up in a high drug environment or a high drug neighborhood, it's completely normal. And
Yeah.
with the narcotics brings all kinds of crime and violence, and you become accustomed to that as well, and you just get used to it. And it gets to the point where that's your normal environment. That's
Yeah,
I think that's brings a lot of PTSD to a lot of these younger kids, and that goes undiagnosed.
yeah.
Especially in lower income homes.
Yeah, no, it just gets that certainly does get overlooked, because again, at young, especially nowadays, you hear 14, 15, 12-year-old kids getting shot and killed.
Well, 12-year-old kids getting shot and killed. Yeah, 'cause I'm speaking more to let's just take a 10-year-old kid. His
Yeah.
father's in jail.
Yeah,
They watched his father get dragged off to prison. His brothers got murdered. His
Mhm.
uncle got murdered. How do you expect him to not suffer from PTSD?
for
That's
sure.
like being in Iraq,
Yeah,
right? And then, God forbid, this kid gets in trouble. There's no leniency from the courts
hmm
towards him whatsoever.
yeah,
And they don't say, well, this kid's been through a lot of traumatic things in life, and they hit this kid with everything they could possibly hit him with.
yeah.
But if you let a kid from a different neighborhood, a kid that was raised with all the luxuries, he gets in trouble. He gets all the breaks because he comes from a good family.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
It's
It's like we know
really,
your
this kid over
family.
here should be the one getting the leniency.
Yeah, it's like we know your family, we know your mother, your father. Hey,
Yeah,
listen,
you-
just go home.
You come from a good family. He just made a mistake. It's an isolated incident, and he gets all the leniency. He gets all the breaks.
Yeah.
So-
No, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because I mean, again, growing up in those environments, like you see that it's like there's no, it's just you're looked at as just less, and just we're gonna just
100%.
go ahead and get you, and we don't care about your future because again, as kids, we all do stupid shit. We all, what I'm saying, we all make mistakes, and now to be branded with that from a child until like your adulthood is just awful.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Rhode Island is one of those states where if you do a crime severe enough at 16, 15, 16, they'll waive you to an adult.
Shit.
And that crime as a 16-year-old will carry with you for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like even when the 18 comes, it doesn't get expunged type of deal like that.
No.
Becomes...
If you do a crime, if you do a crime and they think that they're going to sentence you to more time that you're going to actually do in the training school. So let's say you do a crime when you're 16 years old and that charge carries like a 7-year penalty.
Mm-hmm.
But in training school, they can only sentence you to your 21st birthday.
Okay.
They can't let you be in there longer than 20 years old, 21
Okay.
years old. So they're going to waive you to an adult so they can give you all those years. And that
see, and that sounds like a business.
well, I mean, that's a whole other podcast.
I know that. Yeah,
Prisons is definitely business.
It certainly is a whole
all
other
business.
Podcast. It's a dirty business.
That's something that I don't think prison should be privately owned.
No, it shouldn't.
No, I think that I don't think prison should be privately owned, and I don't think court proceedings should be public.
Yeah.
Yep. Because if you look at what's going on right now with Diddy, I don't know what's going on, and I'm not saying he's innocent or guilty or anything like that. Yeah. But you have a prosecutor who might be trying to get famous, right? Which would entice him to just make some charges and and say, hey, let's get this guy in here, because if you look at all the O.J. Simpson, just all the big
high profile names,
court cases, the prosecutor always becomes famous.
Yeah, they do.
And that's the worst drug in the world is fame.
It is.
So why do we hear their name? If they're a prosecutor, do your job and remain anonymous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, I mean, and again, it allows them to have that drug of fame and to get more business.
It breeds corruption.
Yeah, it do.
It breeds corruption.
I can, like I could totally see that, and it's, it doesn't seem.
That's more transparent now than it's ever been, because if you see the things that people do for attention on social media all day long, I just see people doing the dumbest shit you could imagine on social media, and that's just another form of it. Yeah. It's just another form of somebody saying, "Hey, look, I can be on TV." My friend, my wife's friends, my friends, they'll see me on TV. I'm the one prosecuting Michael Jackson. I'm going to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Nah, yeah. Now, with the whole streets and, you going in and out of training school and doing a couple of bids like in prison. Now, I know you said that you use that into your mindset when you're into like the boardrooms when you're sitting down with like with clients and, and potential business partners.
Sure.
So at what point did you know, or did it click for you that, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur?
I never wanted the job in my life.
No.
I never wanted the job. I never wanted to work for anybody.
Be your own boss?
I didn't care about being my own boss. I just never wanted to work for anybody.
Okay.
I always looked at people that have jobs, and this is nothing wrong with, not to say anything bad about people that have 9-to-5 jobs, but I never wanted to have to go someplace for 8 hours a day and stand next to somebody that I didn't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you work in like my buddy here works at a school, or you work in a factory, he has to go to work every day, and I'm sure that there's some people he doesn't want to be around, and depending on their energy, they could make his 8 hours miserable.
For sure.
And I think that I got that mentality from being in jail and being around a bunch of people that I didn't want to be around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
And you got to eat with them. You got to go to bed with them. You got to play cards with them.
Mm-hmm.
You name it, you got to do it with them.
Yeah.
So I never wanted to have a job where I had to be around anybody that I didn't want to be around. And that's one of the biggest blessings that I have, and I recognize that, is if I don't like you and I don't like your energy, I don't have to be around you.
For sure.
I don't have to answer your call. I don't have to go sit with you. I don't have to do nothing with you. We don't have to work together. We don't, nothing at all.
Just that freedom of I pick and choose.
Pick and choose who I want in my
decide
life.
to give my time and energy to. And I think that, man, that is the luxury of being an entrepreneur, like a business owner. Because
Well,
again,
you can ask that CNA that's going to work Monday how much of a luxury that is, or you can ask that nurse or whoever that's gonna go to that job, and when they're like, shit, I gotta go here and I gotta be next to this person for 8 hours, and then they come home and they take it out on their kids and their husband,
yeah,
and their, and it brings their energy levels down so much.
no, it do, and like I can attest to that because like I'm a truck driver by trade for the full time, and just although being a truck driver, I am. It's kind of like I'm my own boss, like in a sense,
Sure.
because I'm in the truck. It's me. I don't deal with nobody.
Yep.
That I deal with customers whenever I get there.
Hmm. I'm
Especially
sure you have some spots you go to and you're like, damn, I got to deal with this dude. This dude's always a prick.
yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, man.
Imagine being around that dude 8 hours a day.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I
That's
couldn't
what I'm
do it, man.
talking
I tell
about
you,
right there.
yo, and then too, I've gotten into fights in some of my jobs back in
See?
the day. So it's just because of that, just because people are just ignorant. People just want to just piss you off and push your
right.
buttons, and they get off on that. And then
That's right.
so yeah, man. And then at my previous job, because I used to do freight, now I do gas, so it's just even less of people that I even see. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So, but at freight, I used to go to warehouse, and sometimes I used to be in an 18-wheeler going down someone's neighborhood.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, but especially those warehouses, right? Like I gotta come here. This guy's an asshole. He's
Yep.
a dock worker. He's
Yep.
it's just that, just that energy. And then some of that shit does rub up on you.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
You carry
And
that
then-
with you. All your encounters throughout the day, you bring that home with you.
Yeah,
If I have a bad day, if I have a really, really bad day, I'm pretty sure my wife's going to have a bad night.
yeah.
Just what it is.
Speaking of that, what does a bad day look for like that? What does a bad day look like for you?
A bad day for me is just a stressful day. It's just too many things coming at me at once.
Okay.
So I manage a bunch of rental property. I do a lot of intense investments. I go to a lot of foreclosure sales.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of time to assess these properties. We got to kind of make a decision right there on the spot. Am I going to buy this or am I not going to buy it?
Which is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, and it gets it's draining if you go to 5 or 6 auctions in a day,
Mm-hmm.
or just the intensity of bidding $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on a house that you've never been in.
Yeah.
Right? There's people living in the house. No matter, I don't care how much you pay for that house, you always second guess yourself after. If you say you win the bid,
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes later, you're like, damn, I fucked up. I know I fucked up. No, I didn't fuck up. No, I fucked up. So that wears you down.
Yeah.
And that's tiring.
It's a mental game, and I feel in that, because although it may not be like labor intense work that you're possibly doing like with your hands at the moment, because I also am a forex trader, so I trade like the foreign exchange market.
Mhm.
So with doing that as well, it's a lot of mental.
Sure.
So I equate that to what you're saying, because
Yep.
you're in front of a chart, you're in front of like you're in front of a computer screen, you're looking at numbers and
Yep.
and times a day, and it does become a stressful thing.
Have you ever made a trade and you immediately knew you fucked up?
Absolutely.
There you
Right
go.
away. And I was like, but then I got to eat it, because it's like, I'm not going to. There are some times where I may back out, fuck it, I'll take the loss just because I don't want to go for the bigger loss. You know what I mean? So I try to manage my risk in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I look at with the foreign exchange market or just stocks in general, because like I've done stocks as well, stock option trading, shit like that. But mainly forex is like what I do. So I create that with the real estate too. It's like it's stressful. Like you're not, so when I look at trading in real estate, it's just it's all a mindset thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, it's like, especially when you're doing like the auctions, right? Because you're outside of a house. There's everybody out there is bidding,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't even see on the inside. So
Can't
you're
get
just judging everything by the outside. And
It's way deeper than that though,
yeah.
because that house could have liens from hospital bills, could have a water and sewer bill. Providence Water doesn't allow you to check. You can't just call and say, hey, what's my bill?
No.
No. You have to be the actual owner of the house to get a water meter reading. So you can't just call. Some cities like Warwick, West Warwick, you can call and say, hey, what's the water bill here? I bought a house one time in Providence, had a $30,000 water bill. Well, it had $12,000 water and $12,000 sewer, Narragansett Bay. So that's $30,000 that I didn't anticipate when I bought the house.
Yeah.
So,
So how do you deal with that though?
you eat it. You keep
Yeah.
going. I still made money on that house.
Yeah.
I just didn't make that additional $25,000 that I would have made if I didn't have to pay that bill. But they say that there's 3 things in life that are certain, 2 things that are certain in life: death and taxes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add something else to that: death, taxes, and Providence Water. Because I don't care what you do, Providence Water is gonna get their money.
Yeah.
Yep. If there's a $100,000 water bill on that house, they're not turning that water on until they pay that in full. I've never seen them negotiate with anybody.
Never. So
Never.
So but like the other counties and towns will negotiate.
I don't know if they'll negotiate. I don't know, but Providence Water is the only one that I've seen that'll let it get that high. But other towns,
they'll let it get that high.
Providence will, yeah.
Yeah.
But other towns, they'll sell your water bill at a tax sale.
Oh, so yeah, so
Cumberland, Lincoln.
but that whole tax sale thing, that's I think I was reading a book on that. They call it the 16%.
16%.
Solution or something like that.
You want me to break it down for you?
Yeah.
So the way it works is, let's say you don't pay your water bill on your house, they're gonna have a tax sale. They're gonna have a water bill tax sale, and somebody, I can go and I can buy it. And if say your water bill is, $3,500, I can go and pay the $3,500 for that water bill, and then after a certain amount of time, I can foreclose on that property.
Okay.
I can institute the foreclosure, and I can actually take your house for the non-payment of that water bill. If you go down and which 90% of the time, what you go down and you pay that water bill, you're just gonna give me my money back plus 16%. So it's a good investment.
Yeah, so it's an investment.
Yeah.
Then you would just kind of pay it. You got some extra cash in me, and then if you don't pay it, then I get to foreclose on the home.
For
and
sure.
You basically get the home for that price, right?
Well, you have to work it out with the bank if there's a first position mortgage.
Okay.
But yes, you can take the house. So typically that happens a lot with older people when they die. Nobody's taking after the house. Nobody's taking care of the house. Nobody's paying attention to the bills. Nobody's going to step in and there's no mortgage because the people are old. But I've seen people lose houses, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, $5,000, $3,500. Yep, short money.
Yeah. Damn. So just for not paying that $5 or $10,000.
Yeah. Same thing with property taxes.
Yeah.
If you don't pay your property taxes, it's going to get sold at a tax sale.
Yeah, because in that book, the 16% rule, they were speaking about that. As far as like going through finding records, it's dirty work. You got to go through and find it. It's not just
Well, so I'll give you guys a hack. In Providence, they put out a list once a year. In all the cities, they put out a list once a year, and all the properties that are going up for tax sale are on this list. And you can look at all the properties, and it says how much it's going up for: $1,200, $500, $3,500. And then probably 2 or 3 days right before the tax sale, most of them people are going to go down and pay their taxes. Then you get an updated list the day of the tax sale.
Okay.
So it'll be like 500 houses on that list, and then the day of the tax sale, it'll probably be 50 houses. Like 450 people will pay, and then you go to the courthouse or the city hall, wherever they hold the tax sale, and you bid on that, and you bid on the property taxes. Oh. And whoever gets the property taxes, if those property taxes don't get redeemed in a year, then you can take the house.
Yeah. That's a nice little hack.
And it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
That's a nice little hack, though. I mean, that's kind of like a low entry barrier to get into like a property. I mean, it's probably...
I purchased a home one time from an attorney who bought a property in Central Fall in Pawtucket.
Okay.
Really, really nice property. The woman who owned the property thought that her brother was paying the taxes.
Okay.
Her brother wasn't paying the taxes. I purchased it from an attorney. The attorney didn't want to deal with the people. He just wanted to make his money. Mm-hmm. I think he paid probably $4,800. He sold me the property for $300,000.
Okay.
I had to be the one to call the lady and say, "Hey, ma'am, this is not your house no more." She was a little, confused. She handled it better than anybody you could imagine would handle losing. The property was probably worth $550,000. It was a really nice property and very well maintained. Mm-hmm. You could see that they were not absentee landlords. She just trusted that her brother was paying these taxes and he wasn't. And they lost the house because of that.
So let me ask, because I don't own a home up at the moment. So when you're paying like the mortgage, that mortgage bill that you pay every month doesn't go towards taxes, or
sometimes they'll escrow your taxes.
They'll escrow it in.
Sometimes they won't. Sometimes if they don't escrow your taxes, the bank will step in. The bank will see that it's going up for tax sale. They'll step in and pay the taxes, and they'll charge you. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets overlooked. Some banks don't pay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So even sometimes the banks won't like pay.
It gets overlooked. The banks have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of mortgages, and it gets overlooked, and they don't have time to monitor it. And yeah.
So now say, because now you say that so like now say in that situation you're paying your mortgage on time, which
Paying your
like
mortgage.
in your mortgage it stipulates some way that like a portion of this is going
So
toward like
most
taxes.
most banks escrow taxes. They pay the property taxes.
Yeah.
But take a case like me, I'm a hard money lender.
Yeah.
If I gave someone a loan and they wasn't paying their taxes, and a couple years go by, and somebody buys that at a tax sale and they foreclose, yeah, they'll wipe me right out. My money's gone. They're now the new owner of the house. So when I give a loan to somebody, I have to make sure that those taxes are paid.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we're always checking for tax liens on properties that I have loans on. But
Yeah.
absolutely, that is a very real reality for a hard money lender.
Damn.
For sure.
Damn. No, see, I wouldn't have even.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even known that. Now, being in the real estate game, and have you, when you started out, did you have any mentors? Did you have people that like kind of guided you? Is that like a network that you built yourself, or is it something that you got inserted to?
There was a couple of people when I first started in real estate. There was not much social media presence for real estate, so I don't have any mentors on social media. There was a couple of people here that are still in real estate right now, that I'm friends with, and these people might not even realize it, but they helped me out a lot. Unfortunately, we don't communicate as much as I would like because we had a deal that kind of went bad.
Gotcha.
And they're holding me accountable for it. So, but that person is somebody that I hold in very high regards and helped me out a lot and kind of guided me and helped me make sense of a lot of things when I first started.
Yeah. Now, when you like, if I'm not mistaken, you kind of got into like the residential side of things in 2014.
So in 2014, I owned a nightclub.
Okay.
In East Greenwich, or nightclub restaurant. It did okay. Worst investment I ever made in my life. I lost $250,000 in that. I wouldn't wish that business on my worst enemy. You couldn't give me a nightclub for free.
So I mean, you basically lost $250,000. So that's not just something easy just to say, So, but how, if you don't mind me asking, like, I was doing a little bit of some background on it. So
Sure.
It certainly was going with your business partner. How did that come to be though? How did
So we opened up a nightclub in East Greenwich, right on Main Street, and we didn't do our proper research as far as demographics goes.
Okay.
The people that came to our club wanted us there, but the residents that lived around there didn't want us there. So they fought tooth and nail to get us out of there because they wasn't happy with the traffic, people parking their cars up and down the streets.
Okay.
And Main Street in East Greenwich kind of closes down at a certain time, and our club was open until 1 a.m. and the city of East Greenwich just didn't want that. Yeah, we were as transparent with them as possible, but when they saw what we were actually doing, they didn't want us there. So immediately, for our first year in business, we were only open for 1 year. We went to renew our liquor license, and they didn't renew it because of noise ordinance violations.
Wow. Yep. So all in all, you guys were actually doing good then.
Oh, we were doing good. We did 1.3 in our first year.
Shit.
Yeah, we did
Damn.
good. We had no loans. I funded the entire project out of my own pocket. We had no loans. We owed nobody nothing. But they took our liquor license, and when they took our license, they suspended it for, I think it was either 3 months or 6 months. Either way, it's a headshot.
And then with not being able to serve liquor, you start to decline.
They took our liquor and our entertainment. They didn't want us having any live entertainment. They said the live entertainment was a nuisance to the neighborhood, and they took our liquor license. Yep.
Wow.
And I forget how many months they suspended us for, but that was it. We were basically a lemonade stand after that. We couldn't.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, man, that's fucked up. It's like, cause it's not like you guys, because whatever businesses fail sometimes, right? It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with failing. I mean, you just go on and you learn from it and you move forward. But
I took a lot from that business. I learned how to interact with people.
Yeah.
I learned discipline. I worked a lot. I learned that I can work and maintain a relationship with people and not cross any boundaries, and maintain that. And they say when people get into the nightclub business, they get into it for one or two things. Some people get into it for money, and some people get into it for the girls.
Yeah.
And when I got into that business, I didn't really know why I was doing it. It sounded like a good investment to me, so I did it. But then I realized that, yeah, I'm doing this for the money part of it. I'm not interested. I was married. My daughter worked there. There's a nightclub. There's a lot of girls, in and out. But that had no effect on me whatsoever.
Yeah. Now, how did the nightclub business get presented though? Because you said you basically started like the whole project. So.
I was gonna buy. At that time, I had a significant amount of money put away, and I had nothing to do with it. I had I didn't know how to invest it. I didn't know anything about real estate. I only owned one house that I was living in. I knew nothing about investment property, and I was gonna buy a nightclub on Federal Hill. I know some people may remember Sona Lounge sequel on Federal Hill. I was gonna buy that, and I went to my buddy, who ended up being my partner at the place that we did open.
Okay.
And I said, hey, because he ran nightclubs, and I said, hey,
okay.
I'm thinking about buying this place on Federal Hill, and he was like, wow, you really want to open up a nightclub? I got a good idea for you. And he kind of roped me into it.
Yeah.
And that was it. We went in there, we took over the building, we renovated it, and it's just a lot of money.
That was like your first introduction to the commercial side of the real estate, like as well. Because I mean, if you had so
we didn't buy the building.
Oh, like you didn't buy it out.
No,
okay. Because you said when you
we rented.
We renovated. I just assumed that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I had seen that you also have I don't know if it's still up and running. Just curious. You have King's Carpet and Upholstery.
King's Carpet was my very first business I ever opened up was a rim store right on Cranston Street in Providence. And this was probably 95, 96.
Oh, but damn, yeah. So like you've been since the 90s just doing businesses, trying to...
Listen, if I had a couple $100 in my pocket, I was having a lemonade stand. I was always trying to do something, Like I said, I never wanted to have a job. I had a rim store, and then I had I was partners in a car dealership. I opened up a carpet cleaning company. The carpet cleaning company did very, very well. That kind of segued me into a lot of other businesses.
Okay.
I made a lot of money. I think 1 year, and this is going back into 2000s, early 2000s. I made like $100,000 all by myself.
Yeah.
Just me in the van all by myself.
Just going
doing 6-7 jobs a day.
Were you doing like commercial spaces, homes?
Commercial spaces, homes. I did all the Big Furts. You remember Big Furts, like IHOPs?
No, I don't remember.
Well, I had a lot of accounts. And then
I've been in and out of like the state, so I lived in South Carolina as well, so I've been all over the place.
I had some commercial accounts, and I did mostly residential, and I would do probably 5-6 jobs a day.
Okay.
By myself. I'm talking about making $2,000 a day.
And that's back in the 90s, man. That's
back
a lot of money.
Well, early 2000, like mid 2000s.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, but still, that's a lot of money then.
Yeah. So I used to have a mentality where if my phone rang and it was a customer to clean a $55 rug, I don't care what's going on over here. I'm not going. I'm going to go because that $55 is an investment into the future.
Yeah.
Because that's a customer who's going to call me again, who's going to then refer me.
See, and I like that because some people might look at it as just $55.
No,
you know what I mean? Like it's not a high.
That's what people don't understand about advertising. People put out some money in advertising, and they think, okay, I'm gonna get this ad, I'm gonna put this billboard, and I'm gonna spend $500 on it, and then I'm gonna make $1,000. And the phone's gonna ring, and I'll make $1,000. But no, that $500 gets returned to you over the course of years.
Yeah.
Years. It takes years to recoup that $500. And that comes through referrals and the people that, let's say you put out an ad and you only get 3 phone calls. Well, I paid $500 for this ad. I only made $300. I got 3 $100 phone calls. I lost $200. No, when them 3 people call you for the next 5 years, that builds up. That snowballs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I used to run an ad in the Yellow Pages. Remember the Yellow Pages?
Yeah, I do.
$2,000 a month.
Wow.
$2,000 a month.
And that was for the
carpet cleaning.
For the carpet cleaning. Yeah.
Yep. The Yellow Pages, $2,000 a month, and it was a 1-year contract.
Okay.
$24,000 for the year for a half a page ad.
Damn.
Yep.
Advertise big money, man.
Advertise big money. The Yellow Pages is not even around no more.
Yeah, no.
A lot of people listening to this are gonna be, what the hell is the Yellow Pages?
Yeah, I know the big old book, man. You can't even stab a knife through that thing.
Yeah,
man.
that's yeah.
Yeah, man. That thing is huge. Now, so So let's get into the so like to your real estate history. I mean, we was kind of speaking about it like a little bit. So like your first property, what was the first property that
For,
like you ever bought that you was like, all right, this is like so. And on top of that, when you bought it, did you buy it with the mindset of this is my investment, or is this just something that I'm just doing passively? That you know what I mean?
so my first property was a friend of mine called me and said he had a 2-family home for sale.
Mhm.
I'm not even gonna say the city because I still own the property.
Okay.
And yeah, friend of mine called me and said I have a 2-family home for sale. Are you interested? And you know, I've always had an entrepreneur mindset, even though I had no intentions on being involved in real estate.
Yeah.
I see, I'll take a look at it. I went and looked at it. It just made sense across the board. He wanted 55,000 for it.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, I'll give you 55,000. And it was a 2-family home, 3 bedrooms each apartment.
Shit.
So I
55 too.
55,000. So that actually was when I had the nightclub. So when I closed, that's what brought me into real estate, because I bought that property, and immediately when I bought that, while I was in the nightclub, I realized that I bought this property and it was worth way more than 55,000. So after the nightclub closed, I said, you know something, I'm just gonna do real estate. That's it. Real estate, and that's it. I'm never gonna invest in anything. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear about your crypto. I don't want to hear about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't have a key to it,
yeah,
I don't want
it. If it's not like a tangible item,
that's it.
Yeah.
If it's not, that's it. If it doesn't have a door on it or a piece of land that we can dig into it, I don't want to buy it. So I bought that house for 55,000. I still own that house today. I don't have a mortgage on it. Damn. And we just had that house appraised at 550. Yep.
So it's a $500,000
$500,000 house.
Damn. So and how long ago was that?
I bought that in 2004.
In 2004.
Yep.
Damn.
I mean, no, I'm sorry, 2014.
14. Yeah. So in 10 years,
I've only been in real estate 10 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So like a good decade though. I
yeah.
mean, but there's a lot, you know, that like you've done. Damn. So in a decade, you've made just on one property $500K, which is amazing. Well, that's like
no. So I made a lot more than that, because my initial investment, I paid 55,000 for it. I'm not good at adding, so I'm not going to even attempt to add it up. But I paid 55,000 for the house. I rented that house out for $2,000 a month each unit since I had it.
And
I probably put 30,000 into it when I renovated it.
Okay.
Maybe less than that.
All right.
So the house has the house has paid for itself over and over and over again.
Yeah. That's a good property.
So what makes it a good property is because I don't have a mortgage on it, but what I have is I have the house added to a portfolio line of credit. So I do have the capital, the equity to walk around with.
So like essentially you can pull like a HELOC.
It is a HELOC. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's a HELOC, but it's not considered a HELOC because it's a commercial line of credit. HELOC is a home equity line of credit.
Yeah.
It's got a term. I'm not familiar with the term, but yeah, it is a HELOC. Okay. So I have access to the equity that's in that house. I can go to the bank right now and transfer it into my bank account right now.
And then you make payments on it every month, right?
If I'm using it. If I'm using that capital, I make payments on it.
Okay, so like using it as when you actually go and pull it.
And when I pull it.
Okay.
So, you know, before COVID, when my interest rates were 3.5%, it was nice because I'm borrowing money against that house and numerous properties, but using that one as an example, I'm borrowing money against that house and at 3.5%, and I'm lending it at 12%.
Shit.
So I'm making money, you know, decent money every month just off that property. Also, I'm collecting the rent from that property. Yeah. So and it kind of double dipping.
So you just exactly. And you just cash flow. So then speaking on that with the lending you're lending at 12 from like 3. So how did you even think about the idea of lending? Like, is that something that you've always kind of like had?
No, my first introduction into real estate was a hard money lender, a friend of mine who I'm still really close with today. Yeah. I bought a house for me to live in, a personal home, and they gave me a hard money loan. And when I saw what they charge and how they operate, I fell in love with it. And I said, this is it. This is what I want to do. You know, and I started moving towards that. And what I did was I bought properties. I'm never one to take a property. See, different real estate investors have different methods. A lot of guys buy a property, refinance it, pull all the money out, buy another one. Pull all the money out of that one, buy another one. Cash out 70%, make other investments.
Mm.
I have a different strategy. I'll buy 2, 3, 4 houses. I'll pay cash. I'll put those into a line of credit. Have access to that money. Buy a couple more houses. Put that into another line of credit. Have access to that.
So when you say put it in like a line of credit, it's what kind of
Yes,
like
what we just referred to. Yes.
So how do you go about that like transaction?
Go to a credit union,
Okay.
or a bank, or whoever you have a relationship with. I find credit unions to be easy. Credit unions to be easier to deal with, and you give them a list of properties, 2 or 3 properties, whatever and they'll do an appraisal on them, and they'll
Yep.
give you 70% of what that property is worth,
Yeah. Oh shit.
into a line of credit, and they'll pool them together, and it's called a portfolio line of credit.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So like that's how that.
So
that
if you
works.
let's say that you have 4 properties, and those 4 properties are worth $2 million, they'll give you access to 70% of the $2 million.
Yeah.
And you can have that, and you can email them, and they'll transfer it into your account, or like most of the apps you have access to it right on your phone, and you can just transfer it right into your account from your phone.
Wow.
So you can,
And then of course with that money you're out like you're lending, you're investing, you're
that's
buying.
right. Yes, exactly.
Damn, man.
Yep.
That's
So
yeah,
I
that's
find that to be for me, that is a better strategy than refinancing, cashing out, taking the money, doing another investment, taking the money. Because look at right now where the interest rates are. I can shut down the lending and say I don't want to lend because interest rates are so high for me to borrow, and I have no mortgage on that property because the money is sitting back into the line of credit.
Yeah.
So I don't have to pay anything. These guys that cash out and pull 70% out, they got mortgages coming in every month, right? And
So they're cashing out plus the mortgage that they have on.
well, so let's say some people have a strategy of buying a property and refinancing it and pulling out 70% of the equity, right? They have a mortgage every month because they have a first position mortgage, so they're going to pay every month. And chances are it's a commercial loan, so every 5 years it's gonna balloon. They don't typically give commercial lending on 30-year fixed on a commercial loan.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're normally only a couple years. So you're gonna pay whatever the market interest is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether you have that capital, and you have it in the bank, but you're paying big money on. I can just send all the money back to the bank and not have to pay anything.
Shit.
Yeah.
See, and I think that's like dope because it's like again, you basically are your own bank, and you set and you set your rates, and which is especially in this day and age, which is like you don't got to worry about.
Yeah, well, I don't set my own rates. I still have to pay. So I do use a lot of my own capital. I have an IRA. I have a money market. I have a lot of money in my own. Not a lot, but I have money in my own, my personal. But I do borrow from banks.
Oh, okay, okay. So
I don't think that people understand how important it is to have a relationship with a bank, or banks in general, credit unions, banks. A lot of these people as entrepreneurs, they're not mentioning the credit aspect of it. They're not mentioning how important it is to file a tax return, pay them taxes. One of the biggest mistakes I made in business in the first couple of years was I avoided paying taxes. I used to think I was making big moves by not paying taxes.
Yeah.
Because
they're gonna come one day too.
Well, even if you avoid paying taxes, and you're like, all right, I made $250,000, but I only showed $30,000 to the IRS. Guess what? You're gonna go to a bank. You only made $30,000.
Yeah.
They're not gonna lend to you. So you're tied in with these hard money lenders, or you're tied in at paying a high interest rate because you don't want to pay your taxes.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality the first couple of years in real estate was, well, write this off, write that off, write this off, write off as much as you can. It was hurting me. I couldn't have a relationship with a bank.
Yeah.
No banks would deal with me because I didn't make enough money. Yep.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Which I mean too. When you get access to the bank, you can get more capital too, right? So
Sure.
With like the bigger projects that.
You need banks.
Yeah.
You absolutely need banks.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you that. With being a hard money lender and banks, like, what are some of the pros and cons of going with hard money lender versus like a bank?
The pros and cons. I mean, we'll be here till tomorrow. For you to pull a loan from a bank, they're gonna want tax returns. They're gonna want credit checks. They're gonna, it's can be a painful process. Could take months and months and months. Hard money lender, you could have the money in a week.
Okay.
You're gonna pay a little more in interest, but hard money loans are typically for short-term investing.
Gotcha.
Nothing long term. It's actually illegal for a hard money lender to lend. Well, it's not illegal, but it's illegal for me to lend on your primary residence at 12%. That's called usury.
So like if I'm living there,
Yeah. So if you came to me and you said, "Hey, I want to buy this house, so me and my family can live there.
oh, okay.
Can I borrow the money from you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll give it to you at 15%." That's illegal.
Gotcha.
That's considered usury.
So when you're doing, so when you're looking for like a property and stuff like that, how do you conduct like market research or do like your due diligence and things like that when you look at a property, especially in the game that like you're in with like auctions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what's your best practices that you find if you want to give those out? Cool.
So this is one of my tactics that I use when I'm assessing a property. Let's say we pull up to a property and I don't have time to run around the property and we can't get into the house. If it's 1,000 square foot home,
Yeah.
I've done so many homes. How much could it be to renovate 1,000 square foot home? That's given that there's nothing astronomical going on inside of there, like termites or nothing crazy.
Yeah.
But how much could it be to renovate 1,000 square foot home? And I mean down to the studs. $40,000, $50,000, $60,000.
Okay.
So as long as you get the house for under, that amount.
Yeah.
I mean that seems kind of flimsy, way to assess it, but there's really no other way to assess a property. You can comp it, you can look on MLS to see what the actual property is worth in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
But when you've been doing this longer than I have, you just know the neighborhood you're in, and you know the house, and you can tell what the house is worth if it's in good shape.
Yeah.
So it comes down to how much is it going to cost for you to get that property into good shape.
Mhm.
And if it's 1,000 square foot house and it's a 1,500 square foot house, you kind of have an idea of what it's going to cost to renovate it.
Yeah.
You know what a heating system costs. You know what appliances cost. If you can look on the outside of the house, it doesn't need a roof, doesn't need windows, it doesn't need vinyl. So everything I need to replace is on the inside, if I even need to replace anything.
Mhm.
And I just try not to go over that number.
Okay.
And that's kind of how you have to be in a market where we spend more time looking at a pair of sneakers at the mall than we do at a house before
That's
we purchase
crazy.
it.
That's crazy.
I'm serious. I spend 20 minutes staring at a pair of sneakers, and I can tell you within 15 seconds whether I would buy this house or not.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Now that's a skill in itself, though.
Well, it's competitive.
Yeah.
If you can't think on the fly like that, then you're not going to make money out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
That's my biggest.
15 seconds, and he knows if he wants to buy the house or not. That's
And
crazy.
it sounds impressive, but to the guys that I deal with, that's very normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I bet.
I will put an offer on a house, and there's a lot of people out there that are going to say this is no big deal. I'll put an offer. If you show me a picture of a house, I'll make an offer. Just show me a picture on your phone.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
All right. So speaking of that, when you're investing, are you only investing in Rhode Island, or you invest in Mass, Connecticut?
Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut. I'm actually have someone in North Carolina and South Carolina right now to do some investing out there because the market is really good out there, and in my opinion, the houses they perform whether you keep them as long-term rental, whether you flip them. The numbers they work. So
in North Carolina.
Yeah, Greensboro.
Greensboro, okay.
North Carolina.
Yeah, I used to live in South Carolina, in like in Greenville.
Yep.
So
you can buy a house in the Carolinas. Let's just throw random numbers. You can buy a house for $85,000 and you can rent it for $1,300. That's a huge cap rate.
Yeah,
that's a great return. I think the average return on a door right now in Rhode Island is like $250 a door, what you can expect to get.
That's after expenses paid.
That's after expenses paid. That's average. It's not worth it. I don't want to own a 3-family home to make $750 a month.
Yes, and and that leads me into my next question. So when you are purchasing these homes and you're holding them, right? So what's your minimum return on investment after, with CapEx and all that? Like, what's your
on a minimum? I want to make $400 a door.
$400 a door.
I want to make $400 a door.
Okay,
that's what I want to make. I don't want to make $200. I don't want to deal with phone calls and all this other stuff that you got to deal with being a landlord for $250 a month.
I get it.
And it can go left, and it can go left fast, and you won't even get that $250.
And then so with owning properties with owning rental properties, do you outsource? Like, do you use like a third party for your management, or do you
No,
manage it like yourself?
I do my own property management. My daughter works full time for me, so we do it together.
Mm.
And I'm just gonna tell you on here, I'm a terrible landlord.
Yeah.
I'm probably the worst landlord. Being a landlord is not my strong suit. I put too much money into the properties.
Mhm.
I'm too lenient. That's why if you look at my Instagram, I'm always doing evictions,
Yeah.
and that's all my fault.
Okay.
Yeah. The guys that are successful at being a landlord are shrewd, and they don't take no shit.
Yeah.
And that's not me.
No, I get it.
I let tenants walk all over me, unfortunately. But I don't use the property. My rental income is a secondary source of income for me. I use the house as an asset to
In itself.
function as a as through the lines of credit.
Yeah. So I can see why you're like, the rent. I'll get it later.
Yeah,
Like,
the rent is secondary.
Yeah, I get it.
More importantly, I want the equity. I want to
Mhm.
have access to the equity so I can use that to make other investments.
Yeah.
And the rent will cover the overhead of owning the home, and I'll make a few bucks a month by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're buying like a deal, say like we was talking about like assessing, say when you got time to assess, say like like you're not on the street,
Like if somebody called me with an investment property.
yeah, say like if say hey, like Walter, I got this property over here at 123 Main Street, um I'm asking for like 250, like let's just say like a single family, someone says like for like 250, and that
The first thing you want to factor in is what the house is worth, how much they want for the house, how much you're going to have to put into the house,
mhm.
and how much can you get once it's rented. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Now, but do you have like a formula though? Like say, okay, well, like you comp, right? Or like say like, or just you just find the like the property up on your own, whether you're
The formula starts with the market rent.
yeah.
What can this house bring in every month?
Okay.
And then you compare that to what it's going to cost to get. How much is it going to cost for me to get this? Let's just say you look at a 2-family and you're going to rent it out for $2,004. So you're going to get this house is going to net 4,000. Gross 4,000. No, net 4,000 a month.
Mm.
What is it going to be? How much am I going to have to put into this property to maximize the return?
The amount that
Yep.
I'm getting.
So and that includes how much am I going to pay for it,
Mm.
and how much renovations am I going to have to put into it to get the maximum return, to get the 4,000 that I need to get.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. So like,
And
there's no like, okay, well, if the house is like 400,000, like I want to buy it at least like 50-60% of APV.
Nah.
Like you don't think of it like that.
I don't get involved with all those terms.
No.
I don't even speak that language, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
And that's something for all the people out here that are interested in being in real estate. You don't have to dance around LOIs and APVs and ARVs. You don't have to dance around all them terms. It just comes down to making sense.
Like
I'm going to buy it for $250. I'm going to put 30 into it. I'm going to rent it for this much. I'm going to make that much every month. I'll take it.
plain and simple.
Plain and simple.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that. I was just curious. I don't know. Again.
Listen, you don't need to have your skinny tie on.
Yeah.
And dance around with all them terms. It just has to make sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Like any single business out there, the numbers have to make sense.
Yeah.
I like my properties to perform in multiple different ways. I like them to perform as rental properties. I like them to perform if I needed to cash out and sell them. Will I be able to sell them?
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to get a return on selling it? I want to make money every which way that I possibly can.
So you target more of the multifamily than a single family home?
I haven't bought a multifamily in years. I wouldn't buy a multifamily right now. There's no market. To me, there's no market. There is no investment market for multifamilies right now, unless you're buying in upwards of 6, 10, 20 doors.
Gotcha.
But a 3-family, a 2-family, that's not an investment anymore.
No.
What
is let's say a 3-family, right? What is those?
No investment
typically
there. Because a 3-family, the average 3-family home in Rhode Island right now is going to be around $700,000.
I thought you was going to say like 556.
No.
Shit.
The average 3-family home is going to be between, depending on the home, and like I said, the shittier the house, the less you're going to get for rent.
Mm-hmm.
So the average 3-family home is going to probably be between $600,000-$700,000. What are you going to get for rent on a 3-family home? Let's say you paid $600,000 for it. You're going to have a mortgage of God knows how much, right? Even if you do a first-time home buyers or you do 20% down, and then it comes down to, all right, if I put 20% down, I'm going to tie up, $80,000. What am I making on that 80,000 that I have tied up?
Yeah.
You know, I'm only making $900 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not a bad investment, but you're gonna have overhead. You're gonna have heating systems. You're gonna need to do shit to the house.
Yeah.
So if you can factor that in and that can be your net, then yeah, you're all right.
All right.
Yeah, but the numbers don't work that way. Multifamilies have transitioned into investment properties. Now they have transitioned from investment properties into owner-occupied investments. So typically what happens is somebody buys it, they're going to live there, they're going to rent the second floor to their uncle or their whoever, you know, because financially, investment-wise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. The average two-family home, I think it's like over 500,000 right now.
Damn.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Damn. I don't know like those numbers were that high. Like I figured maybe, you know, for the two family around, you know, between like 375 to like 475 ish.
I mean, you can get them. I just had somebody pitch a two family in Central Falls to me today. He wanted 350,000 for it. No parking. Needed everything under the sun.
Okay.
And the house was a shithole. I mean, I hope you don't hear this and think call it a shithole, but the house wasn't worth 350,000.
Yeah.
It's worth it to somebody, but not to me.
So now say like if you like, you know what, okay, I'll take it, but just not like at 350. My number is this.
My number would have been way lower than his number.
Yeah.
He'll get the 350 from somebody.
Okay.
He's gonna get the 350 from somebody that wants to live there.
Yeah.
They're gonna buy the house and they're gonna live there. That's the only way it makes sense. But for an investment, it's not gonna be me. When you buy a house that's in disarray and it needs that much work, it's constant phone calls from tenants, constant headaches.
Yep.
And when you get when you have shitty houses, you got shitty tenants. Shitty tenants don't pay rent.
Yeah.
Yep. They're quick to say, "Fuck this place. I'll move somewhere else."
No, you're right. You're right. And
yeah.
Then, you know, if they have issues, like
you need to have a tenant in place for. I mean, everybody's opinion is going to vary on this. My opinion is you need to have a tenant in place for at least 2 years before you make any money. That's it. Because if I turn an apartment over every year, let's say you're only making $400 a month on a rental property. Yeah. Your net is $400 a month, right? What's 400 times 12?
That's like like 48.
So you made 4,800. You made 4,800 off this one door for the year, and then the people moved out, and then you got to go in there and paint. How much is it going to cost for you to paint? $1,000. You got to change a vanity. There's $200. You got to put in a rug. There's another $300. So you spent $2,000 on repairs.
Yeah.
Now that 48 is down to 28.
True.
So you need them to be in there for years and years and years.
Yes, actually.
The longer they're there, the longer you're going to make money. If you're turning apartments over every single year or every 2 years, they're just sucking money out of your pockets.
I get it. Yeah. Now, speaking of that, with some of the units you do have for like rent, do you find yourself with like high vacancy or low vacancy?
Right now, low vacancy because
how are you dealing with
I
that?
don't get market rent for my rents.
Okay.
My rents are all kind of low, and if you haven't noticed, we're in the middle of a housing crisis.
For sure.
So I don't think anybody has a low vacancy right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Nobody's apartment is empty for more than a month right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are in the middle of a housing crisis.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you don't think with rents on the rise that the vacancy issue will start to like come?
No. People need places to stay, and there are not enough homes, and that is why you see all this new construction going on, and that's why the city of Providence has kind of like loosened the belt on building restrictions. You know, there used to be a ton of restrictions to build new construction.
Okay.
And that is just not the case anymore. I think it used to be like 3,200 square feet to build a two-family home. Now there's no minimum square footage to build multifamily homes anymore. So if you wanted to, you could build a two-family home on a 2,600 square foot lot, as long as it fits the setbacks and building code.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're doing like your buildings, do you have relationships with contractors that you have been using, or is it sometimes you find?
I have the same relationships with the same contractors that I've been working with for years and years and years.
That's great.
If you are in real estate and you're constantly going through plumbers and you're going through electricians, and you call me and you've been doing real estate longer than me, and you call me and you say, "Well, you got a plumber I can call," you're the problem.
Really?
You're the problem.
Okay.
You're the problem. I work with the same people that I've been dealing with for years and years and years. I've only probably had 3 different plumbers a couple different contractors.
Mhm.
But those guys that are constantly going through plumbers, constantly going through electricians, it's because they're not paying them. They're not paying
Gotcha.
them. There's a
Yeah.
common denominator there.
Yeah, no, that is true. I mean, you
I'm
do
telling
gotta-
that's a huge thing in my business. Huge thing in my business. I see it because I deal with people and they say, oh, so and so didn't pay me, or I had to chase them for a check, or
yeah,
6 months now, or the guy just got a brand new car, and da da da. Instagram is a motherfucker because, your wife will get a new car and you'll have a Rolex on, and you haven't paid your electrician.
yeah,
And you sold the house. The house is gone,
yeah,
and your electrician just has to sit there and eat that and watch you shining, and
yeah. Well,
you haven't paid him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, damn, that fucking sucks. Yeah, that's not good business, like at all. So, well then, it makes sense. If you find yourself having to always outsource something where you can't just pick up a call,
No,
you
no,
go
no,
to
no.
common
I deal with the
denominator.
same people
Alright.
I've been dealing with for years and years and years, and they trust me and I trust them.
Yeah,
Every once in a while, I'll be in a predicament where I'll need somebody that I don't have a relationship with. Like I have people that remove trees, but let's just say I had a tree fall on a property, I may have to call somebody that I've never dealt with. But other than that,
yeah, just for
Yeah.
just the
yeah,
miscellaneous things.
yeah.
Being a landlord, what's one of like the worst things you've had to deal with being like a landlord?
Oof, the worst things. Your worst tenant or the worst thing? Well, the worst thing.
Well, yeah, let's go with the worst tenant and then the worst thing, like as being like a landlord.
I've had a tenant that used to masturbate in the window in front of the other tenants. And
Shit.
yeah, yep, that was his thing when the tenants would come home and he would be in the window and he'd be masturbating, and they would call the police, and the police would, they would talk to him, but it didn't stop him. He just kept doing it, and I had to evict him, and the eviction process can be it can take long, especially evicting someone. So that would be an eviction due to a nuisance. He's a nuisance to the other tenants. The easiest way to evict somebody is non-payment of rent, and he made sure he paid his rent.
Yeah.
He just was masturbating in the window. That's
fucking
probably
crazy.
one of the weirdest ones I've had.
Damn, that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that you was even gonna go there with that. That's
I
crazy.
mean, you
as fuck.
wanted weird, I got weird.
No,
for
no,
you.
listen, I'm with all that. So you know what I'm saying. But damn, I just wouldn't have even thought. That's crazy.
Crazy.
That's fucking wild.
And-
Now, besides besides a tenant, like maybe like a property issue, like the worst thing with like
Well, I've walked into houses with dead bodies in them.
shit.
Yeah.
Now that's from you. That's from buying it for someone you
So
knew, or
what
was that
what
from?
will happen is that earlier we mentioned tax sales.
Yeah.
So in this particular property, it was an older woman,
Mhm.
and her family had no family, and nobody went to check on her, and she died in the property,
Oh shit!
and she was probably in there for 6 months before somebody did a wellness check.
Wow.
What happened was I think the mailman made a phone call because nobody was collecting her mail, and it was starting to get really, really backed up.
During COVID, did you have any struggles with like?
I did. COVID was a very scary time for me. I had 10 lots. I was building 10 houses in Providence, and
Shit, 10.
Yep, 10 houses. I had just built 3, and I found it very difficult to obtain a certificate of occupancies or getting inspectors to come out and do inspections. So I got nervous, and I put all my 10 lots up for sale, and I sold all 10 of them. I made money on all 10 of them. If you look at, what I paid for them and what I sold them for, but I probably lost $700,000, maybe $1 million, if you think about what I would have built and sold and what I would have made.
For sure.
But I got scared because the building department was closed and we couldn't get materials. We couldn't do anything. So we thought COVID was going to impact real estate negatively, but oddly, it drove real estate up.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Now, is that something that you wish you would have just held on to it?
100%.
Yeah.
I wish I would have just continued to build right through COVID.
Yeah.
COVID was a very weird time because for anyone in real estate, Home Depot was open because
Yeah.
that's a what do you call that? I forget what that term is. A necessity.
Oh yeah. Yes. It's.
What am I thinking about, Al?
I know what you. Oh.
No, but there was an essential business.
Like an essential worker or essential business. Yeah.
So Home Depot was open, Lowe's was open. Oddly, liquor stores were open. Those are essential.
I mean, in those times.
So anyone in real estate, all the guys that I know, we worked right through COVID. We just kept going to Home Depot every day, putting our mask on and renovating and building and working.
That shit was awful, man. I
Terrible.
fucking hated it. I hated it, man. And then I used to live in Florida for like a good amount of time, like out in Tampa. Man, they were wide open, no masks, none of that shit.
Where is the accountability in this country for COVID? Where's the accountability for if I was a healthcare worker,
Yeah.
I would be looking for a class action lawsuit against the government for mandating me to get vaccinated
And firing the
healthcare workers, which to me is despicable on part of this country and this government doing that to the healthcare workers
disgusting.
because they refuse to get vaccinated.
And then now they want to, and then shortly after that, just come on back.
Well,
Like it's like in that situation.
These
in those
are
times,
these are the people that worked through COVID when COVID was really bad and we
Yep.
were actually afraid of it.
Yeah.
And they got up and they went to work every day. And then the thanks you give them for that is, hey, get the vaccine or get fired.
yeah, which is fucking disgusting.
But where's the accountability for that? Like, whose head can we put on a poll for that?
For sure.
Fauci, we don't even hear about Fauci. Who's that?
No,
Don't hear about him anymore.
he's just
And all those COVID, the people that were pushing the vaccines, all the politicians, you don't hear from them anymore.
No.
They all kind of drifted away, and they don't even want to bring it up. Especially the people that were pushing it hard.
yeah. And I actually started to I actually picked a book, and I just started it. It's called Deception, and it's from one of the I believe the senators from Kentucky, and he speaks about and like in that book he's speaking about all of that shit with Dr. Fauci. He's a Republican, but you know what I'm saying. Just
Dr. Fauci was just a puppet.
Yeah,
They're just telling him what to say and pulling the strings on him. He was just a puppet. But it just goes to show you how little control we have over our own lives. We couldn't even go to the park. Remember that? We wouldn't even allow to go to the park.
Yeah, like
cops would pull up on you at the park and say, "Hey, get out of here."
And the thing about it is too, to ask someone if they're vaccinated, that's against HIPAA.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, but then now all of a sudden it's okay to just be asking people about their medicals now.
Well, look at the division it caused in this country. You had the maskers, and the non-maskers, and the vaccinated and the non-vaccinated.
Yeah.
We were all against each other.
Yeah.
I never got vaccinated, and I
Me
never
neither.
believed in the mask. I wore the masks because I didn't want to be that guy that didn't wear his mask.
Just because you had to, and you
I
just being
felt
courteous. 'cause you're
intimidated.
in
I
this
felt
shit.
like I don't want to be that guy that doesn't wear his mask. But I
Yeah.
never believed in the mask.
No, me neither.
You got a kid in the mall with a shiesty on, and you're telling me that little cloth over his face is stopping.
Yeah,
right?
like it ain't doing. And then, but that's become the norm now. They walk everywhere. They got
Yep.
the big old mask on.
Well,
It's just like,
they took advantage of that.
yeah.
Did you have kids in school with those on? The shiesty masks?
We didn't allow that
You didn't allow it.
because those are considered like ski masks.
Yeah.
And there's a negative connotation.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they didn't allow it.
Yeah.
I know kids tried to come in with them.
Yeah.
They still mandated that they had the regular mask.
Just a regular.
Yeah.
We didn't even allow people to wear the mask that kind of come up on your neck.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
do-rag type of deal. Yeah.
Mhm.
Even allow that.
Bandanas.
Again, it's school rules. It's a little more strict.
Yeah. for
Yeah.
sure.
So you can regulate it like, in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was some of these schools out here that you see the kids going around.
I see them going to school with,
It's like,
ski
damn.
masks on and
It's like-
sunglasses.
And
it's like, what the hell?
yeah.
I think that somebody said, hey, put a mask on to protect yourself from this COVID. And then it just took off like crazy. And everybody had to wear masks. There was no studies, no research.
Yeah.
And-
Well, I mean, just kind of quick, right? Like, just kind of like just for conversation. Obviously, I'm no master at this COVID shit too. But they, but even before that, they was talking about like the mask doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
And then they went to
but then there was people saying the mask it prevents it.
Yeah. So it's
There
like
was studies saying the mask prevents it.
there was always that
Yeah.
that left side and the right side. But during COVID, you said that you kind of got like frightened because the way
I think everybody in real estate got frightened.
Yeah.
Because there was a couple of key things. One thing that really didn't sit well with me was at the time, who was the governor of Rhode Island?
It was a lady.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Come on, Al.
Raimondo.
Raimondo.
Yes.
So Raimondo went on the radio and she went in the newspapers, and because immediately the first thing that happened, this is major for real estate, people couldn't go to work. They couldn't pay their rent. Your rent is your biggest expense monthly. The average person, rent is your biggest expense. They couldn't go to work. They couldn't pay their rent. Everybody was worried. How am I going to pay my rent? I'm going to get evicted. Gina Raimondo went on the radio and said, do not worry about paying your rent. You will not be evicted. We're going to mandate evictions, which to me was a huge kick in the ass. Like, how could you do that to landlords?
Yeah.
Now,
and that leads me to where exactly.
if you are going to mandate it, let Let people call in, let people write in, let them figure that out. But don't send a message to 100 million people that have money to pay their rent, and they're like, I'm not going to pay my rent. Why would I pay my rent?
Yeah. If I'm not even with
Ramondo
them,
says they can't evict me.
yeah.
So why would I pay my rent?
Yeah. So, which is a perfect segue for my next question. The tenants that you do have, did they end up taking advantage?
100. I collected over $250,000 in rent relief. Yep, in 2 years.
Wow.
I had one tenant that applied for rent relief 3 times and got a total of like $52,000.
Yeah.
Yep. Biggest scam ever. Rent relief is an absolute joke. It was the most unmonitored, unstructured program I've ever encountered in my life. You could apply for rent relief at an apartment, and then you could have your wife apply, and then you could have your kid apply.
Yeah.
And then the money just gets deposited. $13,000, $15,000. Not only that, you could tell your landlord, hey, I know my rent is only $1,100, but I'm going to tell rent relief is $1,800, and you keep a couple bucks for yourself. I never did none of this, by the way,
Yeah.
but you keep a couple bucks for yourself because they
that.
did no type of verification. They didn't ask for any kind of previous, rent receipts, or they didn't do any kind of check on what these people actually did pay for rent. Strictly based off of what the landlord said and what the tenant said, and they paid based on that. I think that also is one of the causes why rent is so high now, because when everybody was applying for rent relief, they inflated their actual rent. So they could.
Shit.
So, yeah.
Damn, you just said, I'm not going to lie, that just right now in real time, I was like, damn, now that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because now they have this data, right? Say if I'm paying 1,000, but I'm paying 15, right? So now you start to get the average, and you're like, all right, well, then the average of rent is actually here. So,
Well, if you look at so I had a conversation with a young woman in rent relief, and she called me to verify one of my tenants, and we started to have a conversation. And I asked her, how are you guys giving out this money like this? And she said, listen, what you don't understand, it's federal money. We have to give it away to Rhode Island, or it's going to go back to the feds. They're going to take it back if we don't give it away by a certain time. So we don't care who we give it to, because we know it's going to go back into the Rhode Island economy.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay these people's rent. They're going to go to the mall. They're going to buy Jordans. They're going to buy phones. They're going to put money into local businesses. They're going to go to restaurants. They're going to eat. So the money's going to go into the Rhode Island economy. It's better than giving it back to the Fed.
Makes sense.
It makes sense.
But because I went through a situation, for me, I live in Mass. So I went through a situation. I was working, right? I was considered an essential worker at the time during of this COVID stuff. But we ended up catching COVID. We had it didn't hit me bad. For my wife though, she was, it hit her kind of bad, but she got over it too. We're not vaccinated or none of that bullshit. For me, I was down and out for like a day, and then I was good.
Right back at it.
You know what I mean? But the quarantine, right? So I couldn't go back to work, and at the time too, I was a little struggling a little bit financially. So and then we're not going to work. Now I'm like, fuck. Now I'm behind. And I was always paying my rent on time. So when it came down to it, I was like, fuck. So and I applied for that just to see the first time ever, because I've never been able to do like welfare, food stamp, none of that shit, because they always tell me, oh, well, you make too much. But now that and I pay taxes every.
But you applied in Mass.
I did.
Different.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like my story in Mass, opposed to Rhode Island, right? And in Mass, they had denied me because you make too much. I'm like, I'm getting denied, but and it frustrated me because it's like, damn, like. The people, and it's no shot to the people that are on welfare, Section 8, none of that shit. Like, I get it, but like, I pay my taxes every week, every month, every year.
Never ask for a handout.
Never.
The minute you ask for some help.
Yeah, exactly that. Like that one moment you do, they tell you to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because I went through, because I kind of got my feet wet in the wholesaling thing, right? Because I ended up, but I did, so I ended up finding the deal, ironically, on market.
There's another, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
That's another misconception. There's so much investment opportunity on MLS.
Yeah.
People don't think that there is, but so many people list their houses under market value because they just want to dump out of it. And if you study the market and you're on the market like that, and when those properties go up and you're on top of them, you can grab the house from them and relist it, and you can make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flips, wholesales, you name it.
Yeah. No, yeah, because I found a property. It was about 2 hours away though, so that was like one of the things for me that was like tough for me to kind of continue on. But it was a property that I found. It was just outside of like Springfield, Mass, and they was asking for like $100K. But the property certainly needed like a lot of work. It was definitely in the description, investment opportunity. It wasn't, like it wasn't gonna be where you was gonna get a conventional loan for it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I hit up the realtor, and I ended up kind of convincing her to be my representative as well. So she'll get 3% from buyer, 3% from seller. So she'll
Sure.
get the 6%.
It's a lot.
Which is dual agency, right? So I convinced her to kind of work with me on that. So that way when the deal goes through, she gets a 6%, opposed to like 3. So I ended up convincing her to work with me. So like she did. And then I went over there. I told him that I would need access to the home, that I was willing to like close within, I believe it was like 35 days.
Mhm.
And they was okay. So I gave $1,500 down
Mhm.
as like a deposit, and then I was driving. It was like 2 hours away, so I was like fucking driving over there. I was like, damn. So I was looking for like buyers, trying to get.
How were you looking for buyers?
I was looking to buyers through like groups on Facebook.
Mhm.
Again, imagine I don't know nobody in real estate at this time, like personally.
You felt there was equity in the house?
Yeah, because at least from when I did my like my comp, and if I got the property, for like, because like I was also had a hard money lender lined up as well with my business partner. So if we didn't wholesale it, we were going to close on it.
Mhm.
So
To flip it yourself.
yeah, to like go in and do everything. So
That's the proper way to do it.
yeah. So because my business partner was like, hey, let's try the wholesale thing 1st. Let's just try to get in, get the cash, and just get the fuck out. You know what I mean? And then opposed to just trying to like break everything down, and and then take more time closing, holding costs and everything else. So it was like, but if we, so that would have been like our first real project. But so yeah, so I was looking through like Facebook book market. I was on I used an app called PropStream.
I know PropStream.
Yeah, so where you can go in there, it's like a database. You can find all the homes that were just found bought cash. So it's like, all right, you bought cash, and you're probably a cash buyer. You know what I mean? So like, and you go skip trace and you do all that.
Sure.
So I was kind of going through that whole process. Had a couple of people, some, but then you get, some of those people that flake. You get some of those other wholesales that go ahead and hit you up and hey, let's JV on the deal, blah blah blah. I'm like, there was some of those where I was like, all right, well, listen, I want, so I got it for like 80, and I was willing to. I mean, it was the first one, so honestly, I was just trying to get that proof of concept.
How'd you make out with it?
No, I had to walk away.
You walked away.
I had to walk away.
Did you let him? Did they keep your deposit?
I let him keep it, but wait. I walked away because not because I couldn't close, but it was because it ended up having to be where the lady actually wasn't the actual owner. It was her husband that passed away, so I had to go through probate.
Okay.
So at that point, I was like, oh shit. I was like that, and plus it's 2 hours away, so I kind of cut my losses. But the lady did end up hit me back up. She was like, hey, listen, we're all set. But at that point, I was already like, damn, you know what I mean? And then, then my life kind of like financially, I was like, I kind of had to like put like a pause.
Yeah.
So that was my first. And then, but prior to that, I was calling people. I was skip tracing. I was talking to people. I was putting in like the reps to like speak to people. I had a couple of people lined up. But again, that one was the first one that kind of like I cracked the door real quick. So I know that was like my best proof of concept, although I didn't get the money from it.
Which, you learned a lot though. You got the money in education.
I certainly, exactly. And that's why I said the $1,500, you can keep it. I paid for like real world experience.
So this one particular house, we bought this house off an attorney. He bought it at a tax sale. Nobody entered this house for years. I don't know how long it's been since anybody entered the house, but we were the first ones in. He bought it at a tax sale. We went to look at the house, to buy the house from him, cut the locks, went into the house. Now, typically what happens in a lot of tax sales is somebody will die in the house, and if it's an older person, they don't have family to do a wellness check, and nobody goes and checks on them, and they'll just remain in the house.
Yeah.
So we go in the house, and we're looking around, and we see a dead dog, skeleton of a dog, and then we see some big rodent skeletons, and we're looking around us. I actually have a video. I posted the video of the dead dog on Instagram, but I wouldn't post the body just out of respect for
I get
the
that.
people and maybe family or whatever. But we're in the house, and my friend that goes in the house with me, he's like, that looks like a foot hanging out from under the blankets, and I'm like, no way, bro. And he's like, dude, there's a body under there, and we just left. So I called the attorney, and he sent the authorities there, and there was a body in the house.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's how it happens. The woman died. She stopped paying her taxes. The house went up for tax sale. They bought it. They sent us there so we could buy the house from them. So we were the first ones in after the woman died, which had to be at least 2 years.
Wow.
She was there for a while. There was nothing there. There was just bones.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. And so like no family members.
No family went to check on them. You come across people that nobody just, they kind of lost contact with people and they're just in there. The old lady that lives across the street. But I've seen that happen more times, especially with foreclosures and tax sales. We went into a house that had 20 dead cats. Yep. Here's a sad reality people don't know, but cats will eat you. And the cats ate the lady that died in there. Yeah. The lady died. I didn't, in this particular house, this was in Swansea. The one I'm talking about earlier, that was Walk, but this one was in Swansea. This lady died. She had 20 cats. After like 3 or 4 days, the cat started eating them. Yeah. So the coroner came in. They took the lady out and they left the cats. The cats starved to death. And they left the cats in there. So when I got the house, it had 20 bodies of dead cats in it. Damn. I walked in, walked out, and I wholesaled. I sold it for, I made $500 off the house. I never wanted to go in there again.
Yeah, you was a fuck this.
The smell was insane.
Yeah.
It was the kid that bought it had to completely he had to cut some of the wood out to get the smell.
Damn, like that.
It was bad.
Fuck. So I could just imagine with the one with the lady that was in there.
The one with the lady had no smell because I think she died so long ago, years, that I think all that subsided and all the deterioration and decomposition. I think that all just went away after time. Yeah, because she like I said, we saw just bones. Yeah, damn. Under the blankets.
And then that one, but you didn't buy that one, right? You was just like,
no, we said no. Yeah, we said I don't most that.
Yeah. So we'll touch on that too for the auctions, right? If someone wants to get into auctions, because I see that you do that, like you post like your stories, and it's like I think it's very like intriguing. Like damn, like going to like an auction, like
sure.
How do you get into the auction space?
So I'm not only in the auction space. I'm in door knocking, cold calling.
Okay.
I'm looking at violations. If houses have violations, if I ride by your house and I see that you have missing vinyl siding, or you have some shingles missing, I'm gonna have my daughter reach out to you and say, hey, we know you have some violations on this house. You want to sell it to us? I mean, there's many different ways to cultivate a sale. But as far as auctions, I don't know what started me going to them, but the first one I went to, I fell in love with it.
Okay.
I fell in love with the adrenaline rush. Being out there bidding against people, just taking the chance. It's kind of like along the lines of gambling. It actually is a form of gambling.
Okay.
You're just doing it with investments.
Yeah.
And I'm not a gambler, but I do get a rush from it.
I get it.
Yeah.
What's the minimum entry to?
The minimum entry is a minimum of $5,000, and the $5,000 is you have to have a cashier's check made out to yourself, and if you win the bid, you got to give that $5,000 up right there, and they give you 30 days to close.
Okay.
And that's one of the biggest problems because people come out to the curb and they bid on these houses, and they win the bid, and they don't have the money to close the house, so now they have to sell their dream to an investor or to a lender.
Yeah.
So they bring the lender out. And they say, I need about $300,000, and the lender says, this house is not worth $300,000. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
And they don't share their vision, and now this person is stuck without funding, and they lose their deposit.
When they don't close?
They can't close because they don't have funding. That deposit could be $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $50,000. I put $50,000 up.
Yeah. So so when you're putting up that much money, you're that confident that you're gonna.
So the higher the deposit, the less competition.
Gotcha.
Because not everybody can come up with a $50,000 deposit, and not everybody is going to just take a chance with a $50K deposit. So I wish all the auctions were $50K deposits.
So walk me through that real quick. So okay. So once you put in a $50K, so you put in $50K, does that set the playing field for deposits or
no? It depends on what the owner, what the attorney is requesting for a deposit,
okay, and
what they estimate the value of the property is. So at one point there was a hotel on Post Road that went up for auction. I actually missed that when I was out on vacation. I was going to go, and that one was like $100K deposit because it was such a big ticket auction. But the typical foreclosure is between $5,000 to $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you can't come up with the funds, they're going to keep that money. And I see guys lose that $5K every single day.
Damn.
Every day, because they go out there and they don't know what they're doing, and they think they got something, and they overpay for the property, and they can't come up with the funds. They don't have the wherewithal to follow through.
What about your mindset when you're out there? Do you you look at the property and you have your SIN number? Are you going past that number?
Absolutely.
You are?
Absolutely. You get caught up.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
Yep.
so
I'm out there and
so
he's
like,
bidding against me, and I'm like, fuck this dude, man. This dude, no, keep going. And then it becomes a game. How high can I get him up? And if the higher I get him, I guaranteed he won't be out next week because he don't have another 5 to come out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I get it. Okay. So it's like a strategy too.
100. It is the most competitive form of real estate investing you can think of, right? And no other form of real estate do you stand in front of somebody and just go back and forth with that person. How much are you willing to pay? And then it becomes, how much can you pay? Because I can pay more for this house than you can because I have the money to close it with my own money. You got to go to a lender. If it's a $200,000 house, it's going to cost you an extra $7,000-8,000 in points and holding costs.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me zero. So I'm paying less for this house, even if we pay the same amount of money. The holding is costing me a lot less.
Yeah. Because it's like it's your money anyway.
It's my money anyway.
Yeah.
I don't have to go borrow and pay 12% and 2 points.
Yeah.
Or 15%, 5 points, whatever your lender is charging you.
Yeah.
Yep. So I can bid a little higher.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that. How often do you go to auctions? Is it
Every day.
So every day.
Every day.
So okay, so like all right, so like you're doing auctions. Where's the time for wholesaling? You also you're also going through the wholesale process.
I'm doing that on the phone. I'm on the phone. I'm emailing. I'm looking at properties. I look at probably 50 to 60 properties a week.
Okay.
That's my biggest problem with all these people that say, "Oh, I want to get in real estate." Lack of consistency.
Yeah.
Right. Real estate is not something you could pick it up and play with it and put it down, then pick it up next week. Because I find it insulting when people reach out to me on Instagram or people call me and they say, "Hey man, I want to get in real estate, man. How do I do it? Like, what do I do?"
Yeah.
Like, bro, you really no. You got to get your ass up and get out here every single day. Every single day, snow, rain, hot, cold. I'm in the streets every single day chasing down deals. I'm going into houses with dead cats and dead bodies.
Yeah.
So for you to think that you could just get up and say, "Oh, I want to get in real estate," it's not gonna happen. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It requires some.
The most important thing, in my opinion, is consistency. You have to be consistent. If I call you to look at a house on a Tuesday night and you say, "Oh man, I just sat down and I'm tired," and like, bro,
it's not for you.
It's not for you.
Gotcha.
Yep.
If you can go start over, right? Right then, if you could start over again in the wholesaling game, would you rather have like more deals, more cash buyers?
Well, more deals are more cash buyers.
Yeah.
But buyers are everywhere.
Okay.
And funding is everywhere.
Okay.
Buyers are easy to find. Funding is easy to find. Deals are hard to find.
Deals.
That's it.
See, because I mean, just start again when I had started out, I found that there's a buyer, but it's just like, are they really a buyer?
Well, so I've been doing this long enough that I can vet a buyer.
Yeah.
In 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, I can talk to you and I can tell if you're a legitimate buyer, and I can size you up by asking you, who's your lender? If I know your lender, I know that you're full of shit or not. You can just talk to somebody and know if they're serious or not.
Yeah.
I can look at the way somebody assesses a house, and if I think the house needs X, Y, and Z, and they don't think it needs what I think it needs, he's not a serious buyer. He doesn't know. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't waste my time on people that can't perform.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit there and show houses to people that I don't think can buy them.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of just walking through houses so you can get some real world experience. No, I source my buyers. None of my houses are ever on any investor list. They're never getting blasted out to people. I send houses directly to people that I think can buy. And if they're not interested, I tell them, please don't mention this to anybody, and I'll send you another property tomorrow or the next day, whatever. But don't blast it out to anybody. Yeah. Because it saturates it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Loses value. When something is saturated and everybody has access to it, it loses value. So when you see these investor lists that get blasted out to people, that's not how I operate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we wrap this up here, for a person that is that is looking to get into the real estate game, whether that is wholesaling or just buying, like a buy and hold, what would be like your top 3 first recommendations for somebody?
Consistency, right? Somebody told me one time when I started going to the gym years ago, and then I stopped, and I went back like a year later, and the guy said to me that was in the gym, he said, "Imagine if you didn't take that year off, where you would be." And that always stuck with me
Yeah.
because I took a year off from the gym, and then I went back. And he's like, imagine. So I apply that in a lot of aspects of life. And imagine if you just spent 10 minutes a day, if you every day after work, and you just spent 10 minutes a day, half an hour a day, making cold calling, making some calls, looking for tax liens, looking for houses in foreclosure, looking for houses that are in violations with the city, just reaching out to people, looking for vacant lots, right? You're riding home from work, you see a vacant lot, write down the address, look at the tax assessor, see who owns it, reach out to that person. Hey, there's a vacant lot, you want to sell it. Imagine if you spent a half an hour a day doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Eventually, you're going to make money.
Yeah.
Something's going to give, right? You're going to strike out, but eventually you're going to make money. And once you close that first deal, that's it.
Yeah.
That's when it starts to roll. But a lot of people can't they lose interest before they close that first deal. Yep.
Yeah. No, and
like yourself.
Yeah. Cause like, exactly. I was going to use me as an example. Cause when I first learned about like the real estate and wholesaling and just doing drive-bys and knocking on doors or whatever, I was, you get fired up.
Imagine you never stopped.
I know.
Imagine you didn't stop.
For sure, man.
You would have had some deals under your belt by now.
Yeah, I know. And then that is one of my, I don't really regret much, but that's one of my biggest regrets. Like, damn, I stopped. Even though I was going through a hard time, I wish I would have just stayed consistent with it at least.
Me talking to you, you're a driver. You network with all kinds of different people all day long.
Yeah.
And you also deal with the same people all day.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all potential buyers or sellers.
You're right.
They don't know that you're looking for a property. You don't know that they're either looking to sell, looking to buy.
Yeah.
One of the best deals I ever did was a waitress at a restaurant, and me and her, I was having breakfast, and we got to talking, and she was like, I just want to get rid of this house. I'm so tired. I said, hey, I'm your guy.
Damn.
And I made 50 G's off the house. $50,000 off that one house.
Just for having some.
And I didn't take advantage of her. I told her, listen, this is the market value, but this is what. And she said, I just want to be done with it. I don't want to be there. I don't want the house. I just want to be done with it. I want to move to Florida. And I said, hey, when you're ready, I'm ready. I got the money.
Yeah.
And she called me 2 weeks later, and we closed that house a month later.
Shit.
And I never owned it. I put it under contract with her.
Yeah.
Then I put it under contract with a buyer, and my buyer bought it directly from her.
Nice.
And I made a commission on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And that was from a waitress at a diner.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, so no, you're right. You just gotta just look at your environment, assess it, and just talk to people, which is really it. Just talk to people, and you never know what you may unlock from the person that is sitting right across from you.
If you're familiar with knocking on doors, selling solar, you can do this hands down.
Yeah.
Because you get what do you got, like a 95% go fuck yourself rate in solar, right?
Just about, until I started to like learn more about sales and shit, and then I started to kind of doing that down a little bit. But yeah, man, it's tough. You know,
you're gonna have,
and then your first impression is right on the door. You got maybe 10 seconds.
Well, people are automatically defensive when you knock on the door.
For sure.
That's why real estate, you're better with calling and reaching out to them on Facebook. Facebook's the best way is to get a hold of people. You see somebody has a vacant lot or a house that's fallen down. There's a house on the east side. It's abandoned. Reach out to them on Facebook. Say, hey, I noticed you have a house over here. Would you be interested in selling it? And people are on Facebook. They're comfortable. They're reading it. Their guards are down. When you knock on somebody's door, they're a little defensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you still go and door knock though?
No, I've never. I did a few door knocks when it's an older person and they don't have a Facebook and they have like a house phone and they don't answer the house phone. But I personally don't recommend door knocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't. Like I said, people are just defensive when you got some random dude banging on your door.
Yeah, no,
and say, hey, I want to buy your house. It's like, you want to kill me or you want to buy my house?
yeah. No, I get it, man. Well, hey, Walter, thank you very much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure talking to you.
You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate your time being here. And again, just the knowledge you're dropping, just this conversation was really awesome, you know, and I hope that the people get value from this.
I hope so too.
And it sparks an interest into real estate, because I think real estate is an amazing vessel to put your money in and to like start investing in.
Absolutely.
You know, and to have like again that tangible, you know, because I don't see real estate ever going to zero. Stocks, everything can go to zero, right? The computer, houses are never going to.
People are going to always need a place to live.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, and I think that would be your best bet as far as like putting investments and getting started, even if it's just like $1, and you go from there, man. But
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
thank you, Walter. For
Thank you.
I appreciate it.